Alex, we've got some new hitting numbers that we can kind of chew on, right? Tell us about that.
We do. We've got a few. Thanks to the team at Major League Baseball and Baseball Savant, there are a whole slew of new metrics that fans can dig into revolving around bat tracking. So let's start with bat speed. In the simplest sense, when we talk about bat speed, we're referring to how fast a batter swings a bat. But why does that matter? On every ball hit in the air, 1 mile an hour of bat speed, earns you roughly 6 more feet of distance. So in theory, the faster the swing, the further the ball is going to go. Giancarlo Stanton leads all hitters in bat speed with an average of 80.6 miles an hour. The league average is at 72. And Luis Arias has the slowest swing at 62.4 miles an hour. But there's a really, really important caveat about that. Bat speed is kind of like four-seam velocity. It's important, but it's not everything. Throwing 100 miles an hour doesn't mean you're more productive than someone throwing 92, just like having a slower bat speed doesn't make you a less productive hitter, as we're going to discuss later on with a certain Oriole hitter. We also introduced – go ahead.
No, I was just going to say Arias is a pretty good example, right? One of the best hitters in the game, but doesn't have terrific bat speed, but control, right?
100%. He's got a lot of great control. He's able to get to the ball very, very quickly, which is a good thing. Just because he's at the bottom of the leaderboard doesn't take anything away from him. As you said, back-to-back batting champion. We've also introduced something called fast swing rate. Now, fast swing rate tells you the percentage of swings a batter has over 75 miles an hour. And 75 miles an hour was chosen specifically because that's largely where a swing goes from a negative outcome to a more average or positive outcome. Swing over 75 miles an hour returns a 603 slugging, 52% hard hit rate. And then also, thanks to this new data, what I'm really excited about, we can tell you when a batter squares a ball up. Every swing is a little bit complex, but I'm going to try and break it down. Every swing has a max attainable exit velo. If I throw you a ball 40 miles an hour, physics makes sure that you can't hit it 200 miles an hour, right? If a swing attains at least 80% of that possible exit velocity, we consider it squared up. So it's important to know that you don't have to have a fast swing to square up a ball. Luis Arias, perfect example, leads all players, squaring up 44% of balls he sees, which makes sense considering, again, back-to-back batting average champ. There's a lot of nuance to these stats. There's a lot to introduce. Mike Petriello at Baseball Savant did a great job introducing all of these, and we're really excited to have them out in the public.
Barrels versus swing squared up rate. How do we sort all that out? Squared up, barrels, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's great. And I understand with those two new terms, it could be a lot to kind of understand there. Barrels is going to be looking at exit velocity and launch angle, whereas what we call blasts, which is another new term, or fast swing rate, solely going to be looking at when you are squaring up the ball, right? We're measuring that 6 inches from the top of the bat. So think about blasts and bat speed more having to do specifically with the bat, but either way, metrics that you want to see your hitters leading in, and there are definitely some Orioles on those leaderboards.
Well, let's talk about Gunnar Henderson having an MVP first quarter, second in home runs, and we see him swinging the bat well. What do the numbers say?
It says a lot of good stuff about Gunnar Henderson. There are a lot of Orioles hitters with above average bat speed, but the current leader for Baltimore is Gunnar Henderson. Bat tracking really, really likes Gunnar Henderson. Top 20 average bat speed at 76 miles an hour. He squares the ball up 24% of the time. Some other similar hitters are Bobby Witt Jr. and Yordan Alvarez. Very, very good company. He also leads the Orioles in fast swing rate, so swings over 75 miles an hour. 57% of his swings being fast swings. That combination of bat speed and squared up rate, it's really nice to have because it means that Gunnar swings the bat hard and makes really good contact when he does.
Yeah, that's bad news for pitchers. Alex, how about Adley? Adley Rutman is on pace for a 200-hit season. What are you seeing with those numbers?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Adley because remember earlier I said that bat speed is good, but it's not the end-all, be-all. Adley was kind of who I was referring to. Some guys can slow their bat down, make great contact like Luis Arias, Steven Kwan. Adley, a perfect example of that. He's got slightly below average bat speed at 69 miles an hour, but he squares the ball up better than any catcher in the American League with a 33% squared up rate. Even more impressive is that when Adley actually does increase his bat speed to over 75 miles an hour, he is still able to square the ball up. Really great tool set for him to have.
So we're not talking fencing, but there's a new term. I see Swords has come in, and it has something to do with pitching, and Corbin Burns is pretty good at it, I guess.
Yeah, so for those unfamiliar, a sword is a kind of awkward, uncomfortable swing that a pitcher will get from a batter. People might have seen it on social media thanks to Pitching Ninja. Swords are now able to be tracked on Baseball Savant, and if Orioles go check out that leaderboard on baseballsavant.com, they're going to see a familiar face at number 3 with Corbin Burns. Burns has recorded 9 swords so far, with 3 of them coming in his April 9th start against Boston. You can't necessarily draw a straight line from swords to overall swings and misses of sword, though. It might be a good way to talk about deception or overall stuff. Either way, it's just a really fun stat to talk about.
So if people want to dig in more, where can they go, Alex?
Yeah, they can go over to baseballsavant.com and they can check out the new bat tracking leaderboard. There is tons of information
All right,
to
Alex.
dig into. We're really excited about the release. Thanks for having me.